Hey guys, back again. So let's talk about three different horror movies I watched in theaters pretty recently: Trap, Alien Romulus, and Cuckoo. So first off, I guess we'll talk about Trap, which is the newest M Night Shyamalan directed film. Now, M Night Shyamalan, I have seen every film of his except for his two that came out before The Sixth Sense. I forgot what they were called, but they were not like this. They were not movies like the ones that he did after The Sixth Sense. They were like coming of age, I think family comedy kind of things or dramas. I knew one had Rosie O'Donnell in it, but that's all I know. I haven't seen any of those. But M. Night Shyamalan is a director that I appreciate like immensely. I really do like M. Night Shyamalan as a director. I think he does a really good job with a lot of his movies. There are obviously movies that I don't like of his, and that's easy to say for a lot of people. A lot of people, there's movies that people probably wouldn't like. Like, I'm not a fan of The Last Airbender or After Earth, but all of his other stuff I either like or love or enjoy. One of my favorites is honestly Unbreakable or Split. Sixth Sense is really good too, but I'd say those are probably my favorites. But I really like other stuff, like The Visit is really fun, and like I said, I enjoy his work. So going into Trap, I was pretty excited because, like I said, I do like his stuff. I wasn't as big of a fan on Old, which was the last movie that he directed, and it's unfortunate because that movie just, I don't know, it just didn't work in the way I wanted it to. It was over the top in a way where I didn't enjoy it, if that makes sense. And that rolls right around to this movie, Trap, which is very over the top and very extremely ridiculous to the point that it was obviously made that way. And I know Old was made that way too, but this one I had a lot more fun with. So Trap, I bet everybody's seen the trailer for this. It's starring Josh Hartnett, and it is about a dad who is a serial killer, and he is in a concert where there are 300 SWAT members all around trying to detain him, and they know that he is going to be there, and it's really a cool mind game with showing how Josh Hartnett's character, I'm blanking on the name of the character, his character tries to get out of situations, and that what makes the over the topness work really well in this because he is such a smooth talker, but it plays with all the cliches of these dumb characters in horror movies where it's like he goes up and talks to anybody and he looks like a creep. Josh Hartnett's character does, but he can do a good job of talking to people and getting them to give him information. And I think that's really interesting that it works in that way because it's so funny, because it's like so unbelievable. Like, why would people go and tell Josh Hartnett all these secrets of this concert and all these passwords and codes, kind of thing? And there's one character that reminded me a lot of like Lil Rel Howery from like Get Out. Like, he reminded me very much of that guy. He was the guy who sold the shirts and told Josh Hartnett about the codes. I thought that character was funny, and I thought that he did really seem similar to that kind of character. Um, and I like the fact that this movie's the without spoiling it, this movie does a good job of surprising you, and it focuses on characters that you didn't think you would focus on. And there's one character in particular. There's a long sequence with this character that you wouldn't expect to be a part of this movie as much as this character was. But this character I thought was the MVP of the movie. I really liked this character. I'm not even gonna say the gender. This person. I really liked this person who was in this movie as like it was just interesting seeing where this plot you think will go, and then it suddenly changes, and in a way where it's fun, and I really enjoyed that. Um, I haven't seen Josh Hartnett act in a while, and I like him in movies, but man, this one is really interesting because I liked him as this just extremely silly character, and I thought that it worked because he is so, by definition, he does such a good job of making him look so unapproachable as a character, the way that he smiles, the way that he talks, and everybody goes up to him and loves him and talks to him, and it's just so funny how creepy he portrays his character. But everybody's like, "Oh, I want to," like they all want to talk to him and always want to converse with him. And I know that's part of the over the topness of this kind of movie that he does, but I love that. I thought that was interesting. Um, I liked the only person who thought logically in the movie was the daughter. She was the only one who was saying all this stuff like, "Why are you acting weird, Dad? What's going on?" I thought that was fun. Without spoiling anything else, I did really like this one. I thought it was fun. It was definitely a step up from old. I just didn't find the one as entertaining. Um, the marketing on this was spot on. This was very good marketing. Really, just really intriguing, and I really wanted to see this because of the marketing. And I really dug it because the movie actively portrayed the marketing very well. And that's typically surprising. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing if marketing doesn't accurately portray a movie, because there are some movies where the marketing doesn't portray the movie at all, but it's in a good way, so then the movie is such a surprise. This one is pretty cut and dry in the marketing in a good way, where like it's a simple story and it works with how the marketing is portrayed for it. But it still doesn't show everything for the movie, and I appreciate that as well, because some trailers nowadays just show everything in the movie. Um, yeah, and I can't wait to see what else M. Night Shyamalan does. Like I said, I always enjoy his movies for the most part. Besides a couple duds, I really either like or love his movies. And like I said, I didn't see the original two that were not thrillers slash horror movies that he did before The Sixth Sense, but I might watch those eventually. But they're going to probably be different than the ones I'm used to. But yeah, I really enjoyed Trap. This was a really fun time. And then number two, the second movie that I'm going to talk about is Alien Romulus. Now, the Alien franchise is so interesting because I am rewatching them as we speak. I just watched Alien Covenant, so I've rewatched Alien vs. Predator, Alien vs. Predator Requiem, even though those don't count canonically to these movies now. But I watched the two AVPs, I watched Prometheus and Alien Covenant, and sometime soon I'm going to watch the original four. But I saw Alien Covenant last week, and the thing about this one is very fascinating because looking at this movie from a standpoint of, again, the marketing, this movie is marketed very much on, we are going to go back to the alien roots and be like the original. And this movie is a sequel to Alien 1, but before Aliens. So that's where the continuity lies in this movie. And the marketing, I thought, did a good job of making the movie look creepy and good. And the other Alien movies have good marketing too. And I remember liking a majority of the Alien movies. But looking at this one from a marketing standpoint, I thought it looked good and looked intriguing. But it also looked like it was kind of samey. Like, you've got the shot of the main character, the new main character in this, who looks like Ripley with the gun, with the smoke in the background. Just, like, shots like that are very distracting. And even though they look good, they're very distracting for this type of movie because we're in the 9th Alien movie. And I really do like this franchise. And like I said, I just rewatched both of the sets of prequels, and I liked all those for different varying reasons. But I like this franchise, and I think that we're in the 9th movie, and of course there's going to be like there's going to be copies of these, and the movie felt like it did its own thing for a good while. I did like the fact that it is a slow burn like the original, but Prometheus was like that as well, and I really like Prometheus. I think I like Prometheus more than this, and I just rewatched that, like I said. But this one, I think where the strong suits, or where the strong points lie in this movie, is that this movie feels dreadful, looks dreadful in a way where the original Alien and Prometheus did that, where it's like you've got this sense of dread that's going to happen. I thought that they did a good job with that, even though it wasn't as slow paced as like Alien or Prometheus, where like you have to get more to the point nowadays. It's not the same, but I like the build up to this. I liked the two main characters. I liked Rain, who is the main girl, and I liked Andy, who is the android. And I guess that's a slight spoiler, but I mean, you'll see it in like the first 10 minutes of the movie. But it's these group of characters, Andy and Rain and their friends, and they're on this colonist planet, and it looks gross and awful, and it looks like they're trying to get away from it, and they're trying to escape, and they go and discover the Nostromo. Is that the ship from the original Alien? They go and discover that after Ripley's endeavor with the first Alien in the first Alien movie. and there might be some more aliens on board. And that's basically all I'll say about the plot. I will say this without spoiling it: there is a character in this that connects to the rest of the franchise. And again, I'm trying to tread lightly on this. And they do a CG thing where it's like Tarkin from Rogue One, a Star Wars story, where like it's not really him, but it's trying to be like a real person. It's an CG creature or a CG remaster of this human being. It was in another movie, so it looks very jarring in moments, and it's uncanny valley, and it's weird because like I don't know what the procedures are when making a character fully CG that has been made in another movie and is different now than actor was then, or actress was then. So it felt a little uncanny valley with that one character that I'm not going to say who it is. Again, trying to tread lightly because I feel like people should see this. But the thing that they did at first was really kept that character in the darkness. But then whenever the character is shown fully, it's fully CGI character, and it looks very uncanny valley, like I said, and it kind of takes me out of it. That's one of my faults of the movie. But the second fault of the movie, I've got to say, and this is just one line in the movie, but there is a character that says a famous line from another Alien movie that's after this movie, but this character in this movie says that line first and has no context of why this character would say this in the situation in the movie at all. There's no reason there besides the fact that the filmmakers said we need to have a line so everybody can clap and go, yeah, 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 I'm so glad that we had that scene in there, or that line in there. It is jarring. The line that they put in this movie and the execution from the character and the actor that I liked throughout the movie, which is unfortunate because I liked the actor and the performance, but man, they stopped the movie just to have that line, and it's very cringy, and it really sucked because it took me out of the movie too, like that other CGI thing I said. So it's really unfortunate that went that way because I really like things about this movie, and it's not like those two things ruined the movie. It's just that that line was pretty jarring, but it's only like a one line and that's it. But it really took me out of the movie, unfortunately. These other characters besides Rain and Andy are really just there to be cannon fodder, and I don't care about any of them except for them. Honestly, Andy's the one I cared about the most, and Rain I liked, but I didn't really find much up to her, I guess. Really, like maybe I might have to watch it again whenever it comes out on Blu-ray or 4K, and then watch it again and see what I feel. But I didn't really feel much for the Rain character either. The Andy character was the most sympathetic character and the most interesting character, and this movie really focused on the dread more than the characters, which I'm not saying is a bad thing in ways, because the Alien franchise can be hit or miss for a lot of people, and some of them are good at focusing on characters, and some of them are good at just focusing on violence and gore and dread. And like with AVP movies, the second one I loved how gory and dumb it was, and the first one I loved how dumb it was, and that she joined the Predator, the main character, kind of thing. And then with the Alien prequels, Prometheus and Covenant, I liked those characters, and I thought they were interesting. So I like that the Alien franchise can do a balance or a mix of like characters versus dread versus gore. Like every film in the franchise, I think, has something that's interesting about it, which I enjoy this franchise a lot for that. But yeah, like I said, this one doesn't focus as much on the characters, but it's very well in the cinematography. The dread is very well done. There's some great executed sequences of thrilling moments in it, and I really like that. There is one thing, and again, no spoilers, but there is the last 20 minutes of this movie are gonna be very it's going to be very split between people. I've heard people say they hated it. I've heard people say they liked it a lot. I thought it was great, and I'm not going to say what it is, but I thought it really worked, and was really creepy, and it gave such a shock to the movie where you're like, oh wow, this is something different, even more different than you expected in a way. And I thought that that made it even more interesting as the movie went along, and it just was a nice little like, we're gonna keep the thrills going and then make it really effective. I thought it worked. I like that, and I liked how the movie also um, connected. Besides the AVPs, which don't count now, I like that this connected to Prometheus and Covenant. It talked about that a lot. It connected to Alien 2 and Alien 3 and Resurrection in different ways, and I am surprised that the way they did that. And I liked, for the most part, besides that executed line, did not like that, but because there's no context for that to be in the movie, just besides the fact that people cheer and clap even though it didn't have any context or make sense of that character to say that line. But like I said, people are probably going to be split on this, like every Alien sequel besides Alien and Aliens. Every other movie either love, hate, or in between. I thought this was good. I didn't think it was the best. I didn't think it was the best sequel after Aliens, but it is critically being praised as. Um, I still think after Alien and Aliens, Prometheus is still the best sequel after those two, and then Alien Covenant, and then this. I guess I'd say. Um, yeah, but I really did enjoy this one, and like I said, I'm gonna rewatch the other four, the original four next, and I know the first two I love, and I remember loving those. Um, with Alien 3 and Resurrection, I remember I was hit and miss on, so we'll see how I feel about those. But I love this franchise rewatching it so far, and I'm glad. I even loved Alien versus Predator Requiem more than I did before, because that movie was just so good with the gore and dumb effects, and I just like that. And you got to have a dumb time sometime. That was a dumb fun time. So, um, I'm really liking the franchise. And like I said, this movie got me to rewatch the other films in the franchise, and watching them concurrently. And that doesn't do that often with franchises for me anymore. And I love that this made me do that. But I also haven't seen the Alien movies in a long time. Like, it's been a while. My Blu-ray box sets are catching dust down there, so I down in my movie drawer, so I had to pick them out to watch them. I'm glad that I'm watching them again, though. Like I said, Alien Romulus is sticking with me, and I like seeing that. Um, and then the last movie we're going to talk about is Cuckoo, which is the newest. Is it Neon? Neon movie? Yeah, it's Neon. Neon's the company that made it, have done a lot of weird artsy horror movies and artsy movies. Um, Cuckoo is about a girl named Gretchen who goes with her family out of the country, out of the U.S., and like she encounters some weird shit. Like, how do I describe this without spoiling it? Because this is about a teenager who just has weird shit happen to her, and it's like she sees. How do I describe this? I can't describe it without spoiling it. I don't really want to spoil it. Um, so I'm not going to. I guess this movie, without giving the plot away, I wasn't that big of a fan of this one, unfortunately. And I like other Neon movies, but this one is unfortunately pretty low for me in the likability factor. I liked Hunter Schafer and Dan Stevens in it. So Hunter Schafer, um, she was in Euphoria, which I watched as well, and I thought that was a good show. Um, she did a good job in that, and that honestly made me watch this movie because I liked that show and liked her in that. That I wanted to see this one, and it also had Dan Stevens, and it was also a Neon movie, so I was of course going to see this one. Um, but besides liking those those actors' performances, I thought this movie was really forgettable, and it's one of those movies where it sucks because it's one of those pretentious. I don't really. I guess pretentious is the word. Pretentious, like trying to be weird, in a way where I didn't dig it, and that's really unfortunate because I don't want to make I don't want to call myself a critic at all because I'm not, but I also don't want to like say something sucks or something's bad. I don't think it's bad, but I don't want to say that even if I thought so, because I've never made a movie. A movie takes a lot of time and effort to do, with dozens of people, dozens of factors, and I hate when somebody say, "Oh, this movie sucks, worst movie ever," like because I don't want to. Because, like I said, I've never made a movie. I don't know how this process works. And the execution at the end is something that maybe even the people who made it didn't even know. But looking at this movie, though, I've heard people really like this movie, and that's awesome. I'm glad it just wasn't for me. I think that it had, because I see a lot of these weird movies like this where like they're trying to be weird for the sake of being weird, and this one just fell into the category of forgettably weird. Like there are elements of it where I'm watching where I'm like, okay, that's weird, but why is that there? It's like they add in a lot of these elements into the movie as the movie goes along, but then it felt like by the end there was nothing really that gave me any, how do I word this, any inclination, is that the word? um Maybe not. It never gave me a full package of the weirdness. Like it always felt random and in a way where it's just like, oh, we're just trying to be weird for the sake of being weird. And it just never gelled for me, unfortunately. It never gelled. So I hate to say that, but man, I was not a fan of this one that much. It was okay at best. Okay in the entertainment value, okay as a movie. Like it was just a weird movie in a way where I didn't love it. And like I said, there's some movies that I've seen that are just, they're you're gonna people are gonna look at it differently. Some people are gonna say, "Oh, this was amazing" because of the weirdness, and I just didn't think that, unfortunately, in this one. But like I said, it's got some good things in it, the good performances. Um, but it's just one of those movies that I don't think I'll ever watch again. Maybe not. We'll see. I probably won't, but maybe I might watch it just to see if I like it more, and I might like it more. But as of now, first review, I think that this is just whatever. Nothing super special, unfortunately. And like I said, I hate to be negative. I hate to say that because, like I said, it takes a lot to make a movie, and it takes a lot with critical praise too, or negativity critically. It's gonna be like a weird make or break deal for these people who make these movies. So I don't want to be a jerk about it because, like I said, it's not something I've ever done. So I'm just here just watching it once and talking about how I felt about it. So yeah, like I said, it was okay, nothing super special. Um, but yeah, I don't know what to say about it besides that. Um, it was okay. But yeah, out of the three movies, Alien Romulus, I think is, or no, Trap I liked the most, and then Alien Romulus I liked after that, and then Cuckoo of course would be the last one. But like I said, it was still a good week of the movies. Like I watched all these this week. I spent 3 days at the movies this last week, so that was awesome. I got my money's worth, even though I've got one of those unlimited things where like you spend $20 a month and then you can watch as many movies as you want in the theater. So I don't feel bad for going 3 times anyways. But but yeah, it was a fun time at the movies this week. So that's it. Thank you guys for watching for the 20 minutes or so that I've been talking, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.